Our journey to save Château de Purnon is not only about saving a chateau on the brink of being lost forever, but over time the discoveries we have made have led us on a journey to understand the lives of those that lived and worked here over 2.5 centuries. This week, the extraordinary discovery of wartime diaries, letters and photos lead us on a journey to uncover what happened at Château de Purnon and to those living here during France's darkest hours. It's 1939 and a newly married couple, Henri Autin and his wife Suzanne, arrive at Purnon. He is to work in the garden and she is to become a cook in the chateau's basement kitchen. The Marquis Pierre de Rochequerie, a veteran of the First World War, and his wife Valentine are the owners of the chateau. For them and their 5 children, Purnon is their home. An idyllic estate on the edge of the Savoie forest. But Europe is on the brink of war, and all of their lives are about to change forever. Germany invades Poland on the 1st of September 1939. France and Great Britain declare war, and newlywed Henri Autin is immediately mobilised. To better understand what happened to Henri Autin during the war, we catch up with his sole surviving child, our friend Eliane Autin, who was born at Purnon.
Le 2 septembre, Henri par 2 mains, larmes et cafards.
Eliane has located a diary entry from the Marquise's diaries from the 2nd of September 1939. Her father Henri has been mobilised and is to depart for the war the next day. The pain of his departure is captured in 2 words: tears and misery. His unit is sent to Camp de Sisson in the northeast of France. Early the next year, when the Germans invade France, his unit surrenders. And Henri is sent to the German prisoner of war camp Stalag 3A.
Oh my goodness, look at this.
Envoi aux prisonniers de guerre. Gefangenenpost.
Oui, prisoner post.
Kriegsgefangener post. La poste des prisonniers de guerre.
Oui.
Donc là, on est en année 44.
Château de Purnon.
Voilà.
Landstil, Vienne, France.
C'est donc l'autorisation qu'avait sa femme de lui envoyer un paquet.
Oh, this is amazing.
Et de
Fiche de démobilisation.
démobilisation.
Eliane's father Henri would spend 5 years in a prisoner of war camp and was liberated by the Allies on the 30th of April 1945. Henri would finally return to Purnon to be reunited with his wife Suzanne. They had not seen each other for almost 6 years.
Il y a effectivement un document où apparaît la somme qui lui a été donnée à la libération. Et ici, tu as la somme qui lui a été attribuée, 1000 francs. Ça, c'est mon papa et moi, maman et peut-être mon frère. Voilà les seules photos que j'ai de cette période. C'est après-guerre. Et nous, les enfants, nous sommes là sur les photos.
Henri and Suzanne would go on to have 3 children and spend the rest of their working lives in the service of the family at Purnon.
So our search for what happened at Château de Purnon during the war has brought us here, or in the village, at the home of one of the former owners of the chateau, and she is the custodian of the most incredible collection of diaries that were kept by Valentine de Rochequerie, who, with her husband Pierre, were the couple that lived at the chateau for the longest period of time of all the people who've ever lived at Purnon. They lived at Purnon for more than 50 years, and so her diaries really give us the possibility of an unparalleled look at what happened at Purnon over that 50-year period, and we're particularly interested in seeing what happened during the war. We've never seen these diaries before, and so to finally be able to have a look at them is a really special moment for us. 1940 to 49, so these are the ones that we want to look at.
A diary entry from Valentine on the 30th of August 1939 records that her husband, the Marquis Pierre de Rochequerie, has received his mobilization order. When France is invaded in May 1940, Valentine and the children depart Purnon, seeking safety with family in the south of France. Here they're driving, so this is the 7th of May. As the Germans advance, millions of refugees take to the roads of France, fleeing. Valentine's diaries tell us that she temporarily returns to Purnon to help find housing for 30 refugees on the Château de Maine. We received the refugees at Purnon, a sorrowful sight. As the defeated French seek to end the fighting, Hitler imposes brutal terms, and France is divided, an occupied German zone in the north and a French government in the south. Château de Purnon is in the German occupied zone.
Here we go. July the 8th. The Germans are installed at Purnon.
Does that correspond with the dates of the newspapers we found?
Yeah, it does. So the newspapers date from the end of June and the beginning of July.
So this is a very interesting find that the second floor is a bit renowned for. It's another one of the German newspapers from the Second World War. And what's interesting about this from the perspective of the history of the chateau is we were told the Germans were here for about 3 days in 1940, shortly after the fall of France. And we found a set of newspapers which told us that the date for that was about the 23rd, 24th, 25th, the 26th of June. This paper, it's called Der Vormarsch, or The March Forward, is dated from the 4th of July. So it suggests that maybe the Germans were here for a little longer than we originally thought.
27th of September, and this is interesting because look, it says here they seem to be departing at 7:30 at night to Poitiers.
3 hours to Poitiers.
So if they're in Poitiers, they may be on the way back to Purnon. Arrive 10 o'clock in Verrou.
Oh, with joy.
With joy. As the war continued, Italian refugees arrived here at Château de Purnon, the Nepi family, and they lived in this cottage just behind me. One of their kids immortalised himself by etching his name in the stone of one of our outbuildings. We can see it here. But the Germans were tightening the screws. In October 1940, food rationing was introduced in France, and as the war continued, the rationing became the most severe for any country anywhere in Western Europe. An adult was expected to survive on 1,080 calories per day. That's less than half of what an adult male typically requires. Everything was rationed. Meat, milk, eggs, chocolate, sugar, butter, even fuel for heating and transportation. And over the course of the war, the French people were gradually starved. Everything was regulated and controlled. This book controlled movement in the occupied zone. It's in French and German. It belonged to the Marquis Pierre de Rochequerie. But in the forests surrounding the chateau, resistance to the German occupation was growing. More than 800 French men and women from this local community served in resistance organisations. 650 of them hid here in the forest of Cheval. They formed a military organisation called the Marquis de Cheval. They ambushed German columns, they disrupted the local train network, they even staged a daring operation to free prisoners of war. 22 of them paid for their service with their lives, and many others were wounded. And each year, on the last Sunday in August, their service and their sacrifice is remembered at a moving ceremony at this memorial here. But the Allies were on the way. Valentine's diary records the American landings in North Africa in November 1942. And finally, on the 6th of June 1944, D-Day, Le Débarquement as it's known in French. The family learn of the Allied landings by listening to the English radio. If discovered, they risked the severest punishment. By August, Paris was liberated. Everywhere, the Germans retreated. And finally, in the months that followed, France would finally be free.
At the end of the war, on the 5th of April 1945, the family has a reason to celebrate. Valentine's diaries record a 3-day wedding celebration here at Purnon of their eldest daughter, 24-year-old Elizabeth. Whilst on their honeymoon in Biarritz, the newlyweds write home to their parents, and here at Purnon we discovered a postcard from Elizabeth marking their hotel room, while a letter Albert writes to his mother describes Elizabeth's emotions when leaving Purnon.
My dear mother, it was not without a heavy heart that Babette left you the other evening, and it was with great emotion that she departed from Purnon, where she left behind all the memories of a happy childhood with her parents, where she enjoyed a warm and loving family life. The sun welcomed us and the hotel is empty, where we have the impression that everyone is here just to look after us and where all our needs are taken care of. I wish I could tell you that Babs is happy. I hope it and I know it, but what she herself tells you will be more credible. I send you my love, my dear mother, with all my heart and with all my affection. Albert.
Well, we thought we'd finish this episode here on the terrace at the front of Château de Purnon. During our research, we came upon this poignant photo of a German officer seated on the terrace where Flick is standing right now. And reading the journals, the diaries, the postcards and the letters, the thing that struck me was that for civilians, war is full of terrible uncertainty. When we first arrived at Château de Purnon, we came upon these 2 gas masks. Now, these aren't gas masks issued to soldiers, they were issued to civilians because at the start of the war, people feared that their enemies would attack their cities with gas. Now, while that fear was never realised, for civilians, the Second World War brought untold suffering. Cities were carpet bombed, people were deported, displaced, starved. It was a time of such incredible suffering and uncertainty.
Yeah, and I think one of our other interesting discoveries that we made here at Purnon is we discovered these interzone postcards. So these were postcards for people communicating between the German occupied zone and the French free zone down in the south. And this must have been the only way for them to get news into either of the zones. But they're very, very restrictive. So you can write the date and then you can write someone's name and then you have to choose from options about what kind of health they're in. Are they in good health? Are they tired? Are they badly sick? Are they injured? And it goes on to restrict also the rest of the information that you provide. So if someone is working, where they're working, if their kids are at school, where they're at school. So it's just another reminder of how restricted life was for those living in France and for the families here at Purnon during that terrible time.
They were dark days indeed, and for this week's exclusive Patreon and YouTube members video, we have a look at some of the things that we've uncovered at the chateau that give us a little bit of an insight into the Vichy government that ruled France, that collaborated with the Germans during that time. So if you're interested in that, please sign up as a Patreon or as a YouTube Patreon access member.
It's been a bit of a heavy week. It's been a lot of research and then really complicated telling this story, very, very emotional. So let's end on a good note. This week our stonemasons have been working hard on the bridge. They have nearly finished putting the tiles back down, and if they get that finished next week, we will be able to bring you the completion of that section of the bridge, which is incredibly exciting. But as always, if you would like to follow the restoration of Château de Purnon more closely, we post a weekly exclusive video for our YouTube and Patreon members. We post frequent updates on Instagram. Otherwise, just hit the subscribe button, turn on your notifications, and we'll keep you updated here.